for another episode. I wanted to do a Black Clover 202 review. I kind of wanted to do a reveal review, meaning that I wanted to read along and react to it as you guys are watching. But I honestly, I couldn't wait to read what was going on because we left off at such a crazy time. So I skimmed through it. I don't remember too much because I read it just before I went to sleep. So some of it will be kind of first time reaction because I don't remember. But some of this I do remember because it's a little much to not forget, or to forget. But yeah, let's get right off into it. So in 201 we had the fight between the devil, a partially awakened Licht, Yami, and Elf Charlotte, who in this chapter referred to herself as Chara, or Kara, Shara, one of those things. So that's the elf's name that we know now. But yeah, this chapter starts off right where it left off in 201 with Nero and Finral. Look at the whole scene at the end of 201. When Finral's being healed, he's being healed by people in hoods. I don't think we know these characters at all. So there's more depth into what's going on. So Nero's obviously been planning to have Finral take him to this monument. So it looks like he may have been kept safe or looked after for a while, which is kind of cool. But yeah, the opening is Nero still talking to Finral, just telling him get over it, I'm talking, we need to get this done now, with that super smug look on his face. I don't know what to make of that look. I hope that's not the Wizard King's actual look, and why I say that is because this is the part I remember. But let me go through this and go through first. Talking to Finral's just freaking out, and Nero just keeps telling him just take me to the demon skeleton now. But then we get a flash forward back to the fight with Yami, Charlotte, and partially awakened Licht, and we see Yami chopping off the devil's arm that's holding the grimoire, along with his left wing. And the demon says recover, and of course what happens is the demon recovers, and he compliments Yami for well, you cut me well. Now, the thing I loved about this chapter is it shows that in-depth fighting, what separates from a magic knight from a magic knight captain. Because we see Yami really trying to figure out how do we beat this guy. And this is something we didn't quite see in his fight with Licht, or, well, it was Licht at the time, but Patri. In the cave, we didn't quite see this level of strategic thinking coming from Yami. But this really shows that there's levels to it, because Yami breaks it down. He says, when he says words, one, the magic's affixed to it, and two, he can give it orders summoning and moving them. So he uses the Storm of Swords that was just thrown at him as an example. So the Storm of Swords is using 1 and 2 at the same time. So he is affixing magic to them and also summoning and moving them. He even calculates what he's been able to do thus far, and even though it's tricky, he admits, he says he's just going to have to take this as it comes for now while he's figuring this out. So he's on the defensive, but he's offensively thinking. He's thinking forward, which is awesome because, this is kind of a different side of Yami that we're seeing. He's not his usual, you know what, I'm just gonna beat the crap out of you and that's about it. He's having trouble, but he's not having enough trouble to where he's even scared of this guy, which is actually pretty cool, considering what he's up against. He makes it an issue. He's I gotta figure this out, so he calls up to Charlotte to kind of help and coordinate, to figure out what's going on. Charlotte says his area of effect, the space in which he can't wither my briars, is ... So she realizes that her magic helped her figure out like what is the distance, what is the limit of his magic, because her Briars fills up pretty much the entire battlefield. So when he says wither to wither away her Briars, it stops at a certain point. So now we have a certain distance that we know the devil can work with. So they know that he cannot affect anything outside of that range. And I think one of the bigger things to note is that Yami comes to this conclusion that of that 1 and 2 that we went over, that he affixes magic to something, and then 2, he summons and controls it. He starts coming to these conclusions because he says if his magic is that powerful, he can just say the word die and we'd be dead, but he's not saying that, so why is he not saying that? And I think that's a pretty awesome for Yami to even to realize, because I wasn't thinking like that at all. I might have been dead in this fight, to be honest with you. So Yami, he says, I've got to take this little by little, to kind of feel him out. But then he notices he can't block my darkness magic with that word magic, because so Yami realizes that this devil, even though he seems overpowered, he's not been able to block the Dark Dimension Slash, the black hole thing. Every one of Yami's attacks has gone through. Why is that? So he throws another, I forget what this one is called, but it's just like a slash. It looks like Ichigo's, you know what I mean? It's just a little darkness slash going across the screen. And the devil has to avoid it. And he threw that shot to make sure that he could not block his magic. And so we have Yami in his own panel saying, so he really did avoid the attack rather than block it. Although avoiding it is just as bad. So at the moment we don't quite know what he means, but then we see Licht's silhouette, and then Licht has his own panel where he is absorbing the, I'm going to call it Dark Dimension Slash for now, because I'm not remembering what this attack is if he doesn't say it, into the Demon Dweller's sword. And Licht slams it back at the devil, and the devil avoids it again. And the devil, he points out, again, like, even though you're still mostly asleep, it's impressive that you can even move as much as you are. Which I really hope they get into why and how Licht is there and what his actual state is. And it still seems kind of up in the air. This series has a way of doing that, and they end up explaining it really well. But they definitely know how to make more questions and answer a lot at the same time, which is something I love about this series, because it just keeps your mind going while the action is happening. So Shara, the elf Charlotte, sees that they're evenly matched, the devil and this partially awakened Licht, which is impressive, but also makes sense, because Licht is partially awakened, which means he's not at his full power at all. He doesn't even have a grimoire. The devil has only been using word magic. He's been toying around with them, just using word magic. So yeah, this would kind of make sense. It's like the devil is partially awakened, because he's kind of just making it so that the fight's even and it's fun, and he hasn't been alive in a while, and I don't know what his agenda is once he gets outside, but he might not see a fight for a little bit. So it could be a good time to get some rust off and have a little fun. So we have Yami again in his own panel, still analyzing. He said, this is bad. That guy's magic power is just on an imaginable level. Then the next panel shows actual scaling, which I appreciate, because we can use this in further videos to power scale other characters in the show. So we have pretty much just a little chart of mana level, right? So the magic power, we have Asta at dead bottom, and he's got a stupid little face down there. Above Asta, just below a commoner's level, is Magna, and that's kind of cool. I didn't quite know where to put Magna before this, but he has just below the level of a commoner's magic power. Then, in between commoners and nobles, more on the noble side, we have Sol, Charlotte's sister, or since we saw the anime, it's the girl that she saved from that village that she was at. And then above the noble line, we have Yami, and he's kind of over the halfway point between noble and royalty. So he's right in the middle, if not a little above the middle. And then we have royalty is Nozel on the line. That's his magic power. Then above royalty, there's no other point above royalty. We just have the demon at the very top. So we have to assume the demon by far has the most magic power now. Then you have Charla, just above Nozel, which is Elf Charlotte, which is kind of surprising because it kind of puts this elf boost into perspective. Because with the other characters, they just seem like they were so overpowered and whatnot. But it seems like it might just give them a slight boost. And maybe a little more wherewithal on how to use the magic, the potency and the effectiveness of the magic might be changed. Because Charlotte might be on the level of Nozel without the elf boost. So above Charlotte we have the elf leader, and it has a question mark because he's not fully awakened. So at this point, even not fully awakened, his magic power trumps everyone that we've listed so far. And then just above him is the demon. So the demon is the pinnacle that we've seen in this whole series now. This is official according to Yami, this is in the manga, so we're going to be using this to refer to. I actually just like the layout itself. It's very simple. It's not too convoluted or anything. It's just more about placing people where they need to go. I think I might make a chart myself and just put the characters where I see fit, and maybe we'll make a video to just explain like why they're there and whatnot. So Yami makes a chart in his head, and then he says, at this rate, I'm going to run out of magic also. And he just can't get over the fact that this demon's magic level is just off the charts, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be running out of magic anytime soon, so Yami knows he's got to finish this. But then the devil interrupts. Now, he's got his own, those panels where it's like separate, but then like the character envelops all of it. This is what we have. And so the devil says, that's enough, everyone. It was quite troublesome, but fun. Thanks to all of you. So now it's official. He was just toying with them. He was trying to have fun. He says, I've obtained this grimoire. How about I use it on you? And we see him with the grimoire open, and now everyone, except for Litz, because I think he's just like sleeping, so he can't make any other face on what he's making. So, but Yami he's just mind blown. And then Char is just like, no, this is like the worst case scenario, right? And he said, with this, the magic of my words will. And it kind of leaves you hanging, because the next thing you see is word magic. And then we have this weird writing appear above his head. So he's speaking a different language, his native language, we have to assume. Now, they have the markings in his speech bubble, and it looks like the markings that are in Asta's book. It also looks like the markings in Yuno's book when he acquired one of his spells from that dungeon. And it's kind of making me wonder what is going on. I said this in the last video, and this is some slight headcanon / not so much headcanon, is that the anti-magic swords don't belong to demons. Actually, I think the Queen Witch even said that these are Lick swords, and they're actually supposed to be wielded by someone with an immense amount of mana because they take the mana of the user. And Lick is able to use it because, he's got so much, the swords can't absorb everything he has, so he's able to do that. But then, of course, we see that there is a demon within either this grimoire or in Asta, it seems really unclear, to be honest, for me at least. It seems like the demon actually resides in Asta instead of the Grimoire. We're going to see more of that because this is actually dragging out everything that we've been asking. But then it makes you wonder, why is it all demonic writing? Why is it in his language? Because those swords don't originate with demons, they originate with light. So now we're kind of, it's just one of those things again, where we're left with bigger questions while some answers are being given to us. So he's saying things in his native tongue. He says, I apologize, but I'm a completely different existence from you all. And we see this stuff come out. And he says, I'm from a whole other dimension. And everything that's pouring out, it's going to be up here. I can't make out myself. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know. It looks like a bunch of Oscar Mayer wieners. A bunch of like sea cucumbers. I literally don't know what to make of this page here. Like, it could be just worms compiled into, I don't know, like dildos. I don't know. But this guy just drags out all this crap from his dimension, apparently. And everyone is straight just shook. And I have to assume this is not your typical, the 4 elemental magic that you stick to. It's either earth, fire, wind, or water. It's something else that we don't know how to defend against. It's something that we don't know how to go at and what we can do. But at what it's worth, it looks like maybe like his own dimensions, like plants magic, like Charlotte has with her briars. That's what it looks like, because it kind of takes up the whole battlefield, and it's just an overwhelming sort of thing. So everyone's shook. Yami's saying this guy is just straight up bad news, but everyone feels it in the place that they're in. We have we're going to call him the half-saved Patri, just straight up sweating with, like, what is this magic power? So everyone's scared. This is an unprecedented amount of magic that everyone is experiencing. And it says a lot for elves to be this shook about what's going on, right? So we get done with the fighting aspect. We get to the next part of the manga, which is Finral and Nero finally at the Demon Skulls. And so Finral's complaining like he always does, like, this takes a lot out of me to travel this far in one go. Nero says, pull out the magic stones set in the stone tablet. And this is the tablet that we see in the beginning of the series, or close to the beginning of the series, where Julius saves Asta. He was actually at their hideout as they were bringing Asta, like way before they got there. So that's the tablet that they're looking at. And so he takes the magic stones from that tablet to put into the statue of the Wizard King. Now, at this point, you can imagine, like, anyone reading this has to be stoked, like, this guy is the Wizard King, for sure. I think it's cool to get a close-up look, because that statue is way withered down. They made it look kind of, very put together, but it looks like it's been through the test of time. So Finral's putting in all the stones, and Nero says only the eyes left. So we see Finral putting in the last magic stone in the left eye of the Wizard King statue, and then the statue starts to glow, and it's giving off magic power. That's the end of that chapter. So I can't even begin to explain how awesome this chapter was. I mean, watching Yami figure out what this demon is capable of on an exact scale, and figuring out the distance of what his magic can affect. It's like this demon has his own monozone, and we just had to figure out what is that zone so we can attack outside of it. This is another level of fighting. It's kind of like that Naruto level of fighting, where it's like we got to figure out like how this jutsu works. Like if we remember, like Itachi looking for a weakness to the the big rock, this catastrophic devastation, something like that. Anyway, Sasuke uses it now to look for the weakness in it, and he finds it. Even though he's much weaker than Nagato, it shows that there's levels in thinking. It's not all about magic power. Magic power has a lot to do with the likelihood of you winning a fight, but it's not the be-all, end-all. If you don't have the wherewithal to win a fight, you're not going to win that fight. Yami is showing us the levels, and I think it's also alluding to potentially taking on Julius's spot. It's something so that I think about. And to be honest, I'm battling in my head to go a little off topic here. I don't know if this series is ending after this. In my head, I think it could be. I certainly hope not. But I mean, it seems like everything is being answered. Everything is coming together. It's obvious that Asta and Yuno are just connected to the Wizard King and Linked, and whatever demon is in Asta's grimoire. So once all these are said and done, these are more like endgame answers being said. What's after this? I have one part of me thinking like this series is going to end once the demon is dead. Now, the series could easily not end, and I'm just not thinking of, on the level of a writer, because I just wouldn't know how to make the story continue, to be honest. Maybe the demon actually gets away, right? Or he's injured enough to where he's got to lay low for quite a while, so they might have time to train and all that, and know, like, there's a new standard to becoming a Magic Knight, there's a new standard on what's expected as a captain and as a Wizard King, because now things are getting rough. And I think that might be the most likely thing to happen. With the Wizard King coming back to life, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe he's going to retake that throne. That's a certain possibility. Knowing that Lix might just be using his own body, I guess, that still hasn't been explained. Maybe he might stick around too. So we might get to see like training with these guys, getting your magic to the next level, and getting everyone more than leveled up. Like we're talking Goku in the gravity chamber before he hits Namek, kind of level up. Just kind of bodying everybody at a point. Because then we got introduced to the fact that there are more species than just elves, right? We got dark elves, so there's a whole evolution there. We have devils, and then we have gnomes. I have not forgot about gnomes, because they've been kind of sweeping this chick under the rug every chance they could, but she showed out a few chapters ago with her wolf in sheep's clothing magic, and gotta say, that interests me. And this is where all that Norse mythology stuff kind of comes in. And I think that we're going to see more species come to light, more species that have been maybe hiding from humans, to really push the story forward. I also follow a guy on YouTube. His name is Broku no Hero. Just go check him out if you haven't. He's awesome at delving into this Black Clover topic. He actually believes that he put out a video where he says that Luck could be the son of Thor, and given the evidence and all the Norse mythology that's in this, I'm not opposed to that idea. First of all, because the Luck, there's more to Luck than we've been given still, and then two, the evidence that he provides is phenomenal. I'll put a link to his video in there. In my description, so you can go check it out. I think it's worth a watch and really worth a little thought power, because it's interesting. So if the story doesn't end, which I'm sure it won't, and I hope it won't, there's so much ground that they can cover with all these different species and their capabilities. We know Elves, their natural ability was their high mana amounts and their magic power, where the humans were known for their inventions and what they could do with magic, their practicality. And then we have the gnome. I'm forgetting her name. I'm sorry, but for what we know about gnomes, like, it seems like her strength is off the charts. Really, not her physical strength, but her magic power. Because we've never really seen her get tired or pick any other character, and her power is honestly kind of broken. It's a next level, like, healing and restoration magic, where you just take a bite of her food, eat a little bit, and then you're good to go. Get back in the fight. Crazy too. They kind of just skimmed over it and expected people not to catch it, but her sealing magic is crazy. So it's really interesting where this can go. I don't know what they're going to do, and I'm stoked to see what they're going to do. This next chapter, we're definitely going to see what the devil can do with his grimoire, and how Yami, Charlotte, and Licht are going to transcend this. And we're also going to see, probably, it looks like the Wizard King's coming back to life now. What's he going to do? Because I can't imagine that he's much stronger than Licht, but having another Licht on the field is definitely not a hindrance by any means. So maybe he'll head to the battlefield, and maybe, like in the last chapter I said, the fully awakened Licht, we might need to somehow get these demon bones to Licht, awaken him. And if you don't know what I mean by that, check out my last video. I kind of go into the correlation between the demon bones and Licht now being fully awakened. So go check that out. I will be putting out more videos this week. It'll be on the Black Clover topic. Boruto, the new episode, will be coming out on Sunday, so I'll be covering that as well. And then I'm going to think of some topics to share with you guys. I'm thinking maybe a quick power scaling one, like I said in this video, about where some people lie in magic power. Maybe a versus battle we'll go over. I mean, the world is ours. You guys just let me know in the comments below what you want to see. I really want to take this channel off, so please make sure you share it on whatever social media that you have. I'm still getting used to the technology stuff, but I am learning very much. So I feel more comfortable. I know I had the watermark through my whole last video. I just didn't want to commit to the software before I knew what I was doing. But other than that, great chapter. I mean, great series. It's getting up there. It keeps climbing up the ranks every chapter, and I'm honestly at that point where it might be replacing Naruto. Not too much, like Naruto's gonna be like my thing forever. But I mean, I like this fighting system so much more. I like that there's different races. There's strategy. I mean, it's got everything. It's got everything, because Tabata knows how to write these common anime tropes and make them great. So I can't wait to see what Tabata has in store for us these next 10 or so chapters. These are going to be lit. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. Please go like and subscribe. It's the best way you can support this channel and help it grow. Share on your social media. Please follow my social media. Find me on Facebook under Jack OATz. Find me under in Instagram under Jack OATz as well. I post a lot of content on Instagram right now, because Facebook is not too easy to connect with some audiences. So definitely hit the Instagram, like and subscribe here. I am actively engaged in this community. So please, if you have any feedback, any comments, anything you want to see on this channel, make sure you comment on this video, go on my Instagram, and reach out to me. I will answer you. Other than that, I am Jack OATz to go, signing out.